you know.
Well, Trump just blew past. He just drove. The one thing that we'll have to say about him is he said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and my people wouldn't give a shit. He actually is an adjudicated rapist on Fifth Avenue. A court of competent jurisdiction, a judge said by any common definition of the word rape, you raped that woman.
This is the dressing room one?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that may have happened, but I mean...
But a jury in a court said it did.
That fucking means nothing to me, because I know what they know, which is nothing. They know two people said two different things about something that happened in the 90s, and of which there's no witnesses or tape.
Well, you know
so
what?
I can't, look, I hate Donald Trump as much as anybody, but I can't say for sure I just know that. Just because 9 people said they think that, I can't.
First of all,
but yes,
they had more evidence. In other words,
did?
Yes. So she told me
what was
this
the
happened.
What was the evidence?
Other people that she told contemporaneous with it.
Well,
which
you know,
is whatever. A jury said that, that he
you know
did.
What? You know more about this case than apparently I do, and maybe if I knew everything, I would be completely.
I know that a jury.
Yeah.
I tend to have more faith than most people in juries. I think most of them really try to weigh what's there. And I do know that a jury, but now I get too technical here, but by a preponderance of the evidence.
Right.
It's a little bit of a different standard in a criminal case. It's beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, I'm admitting, I don't.
All right, folks, buckle up because things got intense when Bill Maher sat down with James Carville. It didn't take long for the gloves to come off. Carville wasted no time, saying that while not every Trump supporter is a racist, it sure seems like every racist is comfortable under Trump's tent. And trust me, that sparked a firestorm. Carville went all in, painting the GOP as a party that's gone from traditional, business-first conservatives to a playground for right-wing populism. He pointed to figures like Ron DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy, calling them out for trying to out-crazy Trump to win over the most extreme corners of the base. But Maher wasn't going to let the left off easy either. He zoomed out and started roasting the far left too, calling them just as crazy in their own way. Obsessed with ideological purity, cancel culture, and tribal loyalty, they've started to resemble the very MAGA movement they claim to despise. And here's the brutal truth: both Maher and Carville agreed on. Political discourse in America is completely off the rails. Republicans aren't just battling Democrats. They're treating them like a bigger threat than Russia. Yep, Russia. This wasn't just another polite conversation. It was an honest, raw look at how party loyalty and ideology are steamrolling common sense and any chance at real debate. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's break it all down together.
Trump, you have to remember, he's stupid and crazy, and they're two completely different things. And this is like the crazy part works for him because he's without a mechanism to edit or to pull back. So, you know, as my friend Jimmy always says, insanity photographs. You can't take your eyes off him. Obviously, whenever they put him on TV, the ratings go through the roof. And that's why insane people are charismatic. You can't look away. So when he does all this, I mean, not just sexual stuff, but certainly the sexual stuff, it's like, I'm going to own. No one else in the world would even think of this as a strategy. And he has no strategy. It's just what he feels. He's all id. But to own that, to own being this kind of guy, and half the country likes it. Or at least it's not a deal breaker because they feel like it's honest.
At least he's honest. He says what he thinks.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to. When you like is he tells you it's okay if you hate other people. He validates what that guy says. I like because he says what I think.
Well, he plays on the fact that his people think that your people hate them and look down on them and see them as deplorables. I mean, I think they take...
Do you know, there's some truth to that.
Oh, there's a lot of truth to that.
And I, as good a Democrat
Yes,
as
you
the next
are.
person. But you hear this shit, so I don't know if
Their latest sit-down wasn't just a political rant. It was a reality check on how deep tribalism runs. Maher and Carville made it clear, civil debate and compromise are dying. Politics has become about flexing and moral grandstanding, not persuading or solving problems. The left is obsessed with ideological purity, and the right with nationalism, both toxic in their own way. Carville nailed it, saying Americans care more about passing purity tests than good policies. The media fuels outrage and compromise. Is now seen as weakness. Maher and Carville warned that if this continues, America will be trapped in a cycle of division with no way out. But they didn't just point out the problem, they challenged us. To save democracy, we need to step out of our ideological bubbles and listen to those we disagree with. If we don't, the divide will only grow down.
Confesses to them. And like, I got rid of the FBI director because there was a lot of pressure on me. Like, yes, that's your interior monologue. There's a lot of pressure on me because the FBI is looking into me for good reason. You don't say, so I invited the Russians in. I mean, like, it's so beyond it. This is not.
the Russian ambassador showing him top secret shit. He was showing a guy at Bedminster, look at these.
But I mean, he does one a day, or he did when he was president, like something that only a nut would do. It's amazing to me that we lived through those 4 years, because when I look back on it, and of course the Trump people say, oh, you know, you have Trump derangement syndrome, and yeah, he blew up the world, right, Bill? I don't, you know, you're right, he didn't blow up the world. I still think he could, okay? Is that completely crazy that I think a crazy person could blow up the world? No.
The shit that he did is like stunning.
I'm saying, I know.
The documents case, if you stop and you think about it, like one time.
Like, I could read 1,000 tweets that are just insane that just went by. I remember there was one that said he was mad at China, and he said, I hereby, like he's the king, I hereby order all American companies to immediately, you know, work on a plan to change your, he was like ordering them to get out of China. Oh, like, I hereby order. And again, that's just insane that nobody else would even think to do that. But he doesn't think. That's his insanity and his attraction to people.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, history eventually finds out. They find this asshole Pius XII. They found the letter where they told him they were gassing.
The Pope during World War II?
Yeah. All right, we know from history he's been outed, I guess is what you would say.
Right.
Do you think, when all the history is known, would you guess that the Russians have compromised on Trump, or that's just liberal factors?
No, I have always said that the Russian hoax theory is a hoax. Plainly, there was something going on between Russia and Trump. It was not perhaps, first of all,
A battle-hardened veteran of American politics doesn't sugarcoat the reality of power in Washington. In politics, who you make enemies with is as important as your allies. He warns Democrats not to underestimate Donald Trump. Despite the scandals and chaos, Trump remains a force at the ballot box. He taps into voter anger and resentment, turning every attack into fuel for his movement. Carville calls out the flaw in the Democratic playbook: being morally right doesn't win elections. Trump's secret weapon isn't policy, but resentment. He turns enemies into loyalty. If Democrats keep underestimating him, they're setting themselves up for another brutal election. Carville's message: winning isn't about moral purity, it's about warfare. Know your enemies or risk losing it all.